Yeah, if you can't beat Wrath of Skies, join them. Even before oh, went past it. I'm also playing Tamiyo. It's a card I've basically always played in Jeskai. I know Yindrik's been kind of adopting it. Some other people have been adopting it. I've been a big fan for a long time. Blah blah blah. Also a big fan of Force of Negation in Jeskai. Also maybe somewhat controversial, but I'm just not playing any Evoke incarnations in the main. I think they're pretty unnecessary. I think you are just not going to lose because you lost all your Phlages game one very often, and in sideboard games too, you can also just kind of. I just think it's just not going to happen enough for me to be that worried about playing around, especially with Leyline Binding to deal with some forms of graveyard hate. I'm just all in on Phlage as the win con. I think that makes sense because that's the good win con. So we also have been talking a lot about how to play Leyline Binding in Jeskai. It's not the most interesting, but it's something we should talk about. Your options are to play one kind of basic land triumph. So this would be a Zoggoth triumph or an Endotha triumph. That's either basically a basic plains or basic island with two other off-color types. After some solitarying and talking with chat and stuff, I think that it is better to play two dual land triumphs, where this is like a blue-white tap land that can tap for green. This is a blue-red tap land that can tap for black. I think that this makes your mana better than playing basic land, shock land, if that makes sense. Um, is there anything interesting beyond that? I don't know. I did build this deck like a week ago. I was still pretty happy with the 75. I think you really want to be very in on the Eldrazi hate because that is your weakest matchup, I think. Why not Dress Down? I think Dress Down is kind of mid. I think that the Dress Down into Phlage stuff is like okay. It's not super exciting. And I don't know. Dress Down is good against Titan, which is kind of making a comeback. Titan should, in theory, be a pretty solid matchup because Wrath of Skies is very good against their stuff. In theory, it's probably not the best. We still have one arena. So yeah, because we're playing Leyline Bindings, we're playing less of these utility lands than you get to. We're not playing Manama. We're not playing Second Arena of Glory. Some people play the Meticulous Archive. Not playing those cards. We are playing Archive. The Monumental Hinge. So I think the price to pay for Binding is these, but Binding is just really stinking good, and no longer is Jeskai if you play 4 Bindings really, really weak to Resolved Ring 2. But Dress Down Emrakul seems effective. I mean, sure, we have a lot. We have Leyline Binding for Emrakul also, so it seems like we kind of have that base covered. All right, let's keep this. All right, let me update the title, update everything. In Timeless, I really like Basic Land Triumph because getting my 2 main shocks after was really common and strong. Well, I obviously get if you're getting the next 2 shock lands after it's strong, but the problem is like that individual Triumph being like individually weak, and so if you're not curving out well with it, you can stumble really hard. So they play a Flooded Strand, we draw a ring. Good chance I'm getting Spara's headquarters here over a Triumph, but we'll see what happens. If I don't feel like I'm going to want to Binding at all, then that'll change. Can't win if Phlage gets Surgical Post board. Yeah. At the moment, that's the case. I'm thinking I may board in a Charmaw. I may play a Hall of the Storm Giants. I feel like this is like a really common thing, but I don't know. I guess I'm just like not that scared of it. Maybe I should be. Okay, I think we're up against Twiddlestorm or Living End. I think either way we want to play the Teferi. Jath, the 17 months. This stops them from scamming the Lotus Field into play too. Okay, they are Living End. Then slamming this is also pretty nice. I think this build is favored into Murkfrog. I will say Leyline Binding helps deal with Murktide a lot better than traditional Jeskai, so I'm not sure exactly how that matchup typically goes. I would imagine it's kind of close usually, and I would say certainly Leyline Binding would improve it. Yeah, you can beat Surgic by waiting to play and cast it, You can play Teferi with counterspells up. You can board in a Charmaw. I was thinking about playing one Hall of the Storm Giants for that, but it's just so awkward, the Leyline Binding mana. Very different experience from playing Ancient Imperiosaur against Living End, I'll say. This is much nicer. All right, see you next time, Endurance. Bye-bye. You know what, I guess we should just we should counterspell the Endurance and not just like brick on an answer to it off of the ring, since we don't have that many answers. Thoughts on Marauder with Rumble, Cash Grab, Living. Sounds kind of nice, honestly. Spell Snare versus Living End. Well, we can at least pitch to Force. Rumble, Marauder, Cash Grab, Living End. Could you maybe build a Rumble, Cash Grab, Marauder, Rhinos deck? Where you could hit Traverse potentially off of your Marauder and just get another Marauder, and then you can also play Amped Raptor and Marauder, because it could be kind of interesting. Josh with the 5 months, thank you, welcome back, appreciate you. I can put that in my notes to work on maybe. Although, you're not playing like any Force of Negations or anything, so your ability to interact with decks is probably not ideal. Could be something. Alright, so we're going to lose the Teferi advantage, but with double Force of Negation, I don't know if we need to be too worried about this. Now, triple Force of Negation. Still waiting for updated Team Result Reg. It's on my to-do list for sure, Z's. Any breakthroughs on Yogg? If I remember you saying you may try and tune it. So I was kind of looking at like Mason's list and some of the more stock like Rumble Cauldron lists, and I kept just kind of thinking, if I was gonna play this, all I would really do is like play one extra Shifting Woodlands probably. I didn't want to make big drastic changes to like what I've been seeing around besides playing. Like I think you should play at least 2 Woodlands. I would be testing 3 and not be sure if like 2 or 3 is correct. That was kind of where I was at with Yogg, and to me that didn't feel like necessarily enough of like an exciting update to try on stream. But it's possible we could enter a Yogg training arc on stream. I'm not opposed to the idea. Kind of throwing with inflation endurance here. Maybe you could find some comfort in the fact that we can never ever lose, and the exchange of Phlage for the drain of 3 and 2 cards from their hand was a favorable exchange for us. But take solace, my friend, that we can. Oh, sorry. I guess I should have pitched. Again, we're in garbage time. I'm more so focused on talking with chat than playing super tight. Magical to 49 months. Maybe notifications work on the mobile device. Hell yeah. Seem to work. Thank you, Magical. Appreciate you. Well, don't see much reason to counterspell this, right? They just died of Phlage. Oh my gosh, I'm so dumb. They sacked the food token. Maybe I should have been paying attention. Although we can Wrath the Skies. Oh, and sorry, this resolves first anyways. I should have thought about the food token though. Well, I have these Drannith Magistrates mostly in the side for Storm. It is kind of funny I get to bring them in this matchup. I'm going to obviously cut the snares. I think I'm going to cut the Wrath the Skies. Let's cut the Galvanic Discharges as well. I think that Binding plus Phlage plus Teferi should plus Counterspell should be enough removal. Don't think. I mean, we could maybe play one Wrath Disguise. No Grief is like, oh, what a nice dynamic for this matchup. Maybe I should play the Narset though. Let's play the Narset. Do you think the Rumble version of Yogg is better than Birthing Ritual variants? I do think that at the moment, yeah. Birthing Ritual is really slow, and it's a big problem in a lot of like of the faster matchups. And the dynamic of the modern format is that you have energy decks and you have fast decks that are trying to like go over the top of energy decks, trying to ignore them, trying to solitaire against them. And you know, Ritual is like the slow grindy card that doesn't seem like right for the environment. And then Rumble also, like the package of Rumble plus Woodland in your combo deck that it's built around a 4-color permanent like Yawgmoth is, and like you're already in green, like you should be playing Rumble Woodland like for surezies. So that's kind of my take, and I like Yogg. Obviously, we've got, you know, Yogg has a long history on this channel. Do you ever think about Narset versus Living? Yeah, sometimes I bring it in. It's just like a little worse on the draw, but this matchup is really quite good. I tell you what, man. The fact no grief in this matchup is, and like no violent outburst, so good for us. My hitting school is that Loteria. I don't know what Loteria is, but this is small underground anime Jujutsu Kaisen. How would I adapt this ring if the ring? How would I adapt this deck if the ring were to exit the metagame? Well, I usually don't like to answer big questions like this because I mostly think we should just cross this bridge if we come to it. But for this deck, it's a lot more simple to answer that. I would, if ring were to exit the metagame, one way or another, it's kind of simple. I think we would just be playing Snapcaster Flame of Anor instead. What we would do is we would obviously try the Gifts Ungiven builds with like Savine's Reclamation, and have so much fun for like a day, and be like, yes, this was fun, but is much worse than just playing Snap Flame. And then everyone will go, yes, quite, yes. I concur. I'm just gonna play this Xander's Lounge. Yes, quite. Indubitably. And that'll be that, I think. Alright, let's counter the endurance. For Jace the Mind Sculptor. Yes, quite. Of course. Magnificent. I guess maybe I'm playing into the 4 mana card. Cannot remember the name of it, even though it was kind of relevant during Lotor consulting. Go back to Into the Story. I wish we could go back to Into the Story. If only I could turn back the clock. People are finally complaining about Gigantha on Twitter. That's good, at least. Dude, I've been so sick of Gigantha for so long. Should we crack this Lantern? They have no creatures in their yard. Kind of want to draw some white mana. I obviously have like a lot of insulation against the Living End, anyways. Well, think I gotta trade this, I guess. Black Ops, no, the 10 months. Thank you so much. Hope that you're doing well. Spike, how do you land on 2 Tamiyos in the 75? Well, so it's kind of like history of playing the Jeskai archetype, I guess. I have liked access to some number of Tamiyos. But I think introducing Leyline Binding into the deck makes Tamiyo a little bit worse, where you're playing less cheap instants and sorceries for it to recur. You also don't really want to draw 2 copies early. So I think just like these details make you want to play 2 copies total, for the most part. So ring resolves, but they're getting aggro. Still, we have not found any white mana, the top 12 cards of our library. Let's not read too much into that, of course. Why would we? Great Tongsby with the 5 months. Still a great username. Do I know what it means? No. Do I like the vibes? Yes. Oh. Right on time. Kind of want them to hardcast Subtlety here. Then I can just consign the trigger and then kill the Subtlety with Phlage. Maybe they can win this fight though. There's a Hallowed Fountain we surveilled to the yard earlier. I see. I think it made sense. Okay, so we are dead. Kind of classic. I have all these cards against your living ends, and I get out-tempoed. Maybe I should play some Galvanic Discharges. At least the first one seems good. I don't know that I can play less on any of these cards. We could go down to Tamiyo. What about replacing Felia with Elishnor and Mother of Machines in the board's control? Yeah, I think that is an option for sure, Z's. We're on deck 3, an hour 45 to win a match. We win a match with Scales, yeah. Our first match on the day. Just that kind of day, you know. So Nillis, the only one cause are Phlages. Yeah, I'm just like at the moment not that worried about getting the Phlages surgical. If it like is a factor in the matchup, I think it can be something we can play around. I think, and if it's if it is a factor, it's not something you even need to worry that much about in game one. I think that like, it's just like not a factor game one, and so could we have like one card in our sideboard that's an alternate win con or something? I think that could be an option too. I'm having absolute. I'm having an absolute playing Wizards. However, Dimir Frogtide is a really bad matchup. Any cards you can think of to help it out? Um, you should probably be main decking at least 3 Spell Snares. You could maybe just main deck 4 Spell Snares in Wizards too. To be honest, like your energy is also a bad matchup. 4 Spell Snares would do a lot of work there. Side them out. But Spell Snare is kind of your only good answer to Frog. So I think it would make a sense to me. I don't know how I got became Mario. Make a sense. It would make sense to me, I think, to play a lot of copies of that card. How would I feel if Modern League was made free to play? I guess I wouldn't like it that much because you can play Modern for free on Magic Online right now, and holy guacamole, are the free queues not good environments to play in. It is not only is the quality of opponents much lower, the quality of like decks is much lower, but also like you get like I'm just gonna open no Karn, Ulamog, Poison, or Valakut things. Like there's all these like rule zero attitudes about like what you can and can't play, which is for me not very fun. Um, so yeah, just for me, not my thing. All right, getting an endurance out of the way. And then also like when you're playing for no stakes, then your opponents are going to salt rope you. They're going to like waste 10 minutes of your clock. They're going to waste your time. They're going to, abuse the system because there's no stakes at all. And so you can play for free on Magic Online if you want to play for free. That already does exist, and the environment is bad. So it seems like it would not be a good change. I want them to Force of Negation this because my ring. If all were out to win, County of main deck or sideboard main deck. It's a bit awkward with the ley lines. Kind of Demodo, should open chests or sell them. You should open them if you want play points, sell them if you want tickets, is the usual rule of thumb. Although technically, I believe the math does change periodically on what's correct. So now I'm not going to attack into another endurance. Yeah, I'll probably go to Atlanta in January for the GP. I have some family out there that I don't know. I got to see them this weekend, but I usually when I go to Atlanta for tournaments, I don't actually get to see them. Seems counterspellable. Like, you know, we're doing very good against Living End right now. We need to avoid what happened last game. It's getting beat down. And if this trades for the Force of Negation, that is a good trade for us. Okay, well, snap paying. So we're going to use a second dispute, I guess. Oh. Maybe Force? After playing with Surveillance for Modern, do you think they were a net positive for Modern? I really like them as a way to get people to play Triumphs less. I don't know. I mean, I think that they're fun, and I think that they add, like, levels of, like, skill, and they reduce variance, which I like. I also don't like that they make fetch lands even more popular, but they also got to reduce that a little. Like, they did print a lot of good, like, non-fetch utility lands in MH3. I think to some extent, fetch land or like utility land power creep has gotten really ridiculous to some extent. So I don't know. Yeah, let's just chill. They make insteps so much worse in paper. Yeah. Take more time than Triumphs. Is it power creep or complexity creep? For utility lands, it's power creep. For spells, it's been complexity creep the last few years. Power creep for 2019 through 2021 era. Can they have anything that bounces the ring or exiles the ring? Not that often. If it's bounced, I don't really care either, of course. Let's just keep the counterspell up instead of playing second Magi here. Alright, got a lot of answers to subtlety. Let's let that go. I'm sort of new to Modern. I want to play Psychic Frog decks, so it's been my favorite decks that include it in this PB format. I don't know what PB means in this context. We top-aided a Modern Challenge last Friday, with Frog and a Dimir Basim list. Sorry. I would recommend that deck. I think that deck is good. It's also kind of like unique compared to other lists too. I guess let's see if we have a Phlage that we can surveil right now. Wait, where? Oh, sorry. I thought this was Hallowed Fountain. Oopsie doopsie. Oh, I guess I should have got Hallowed Fountain because now I can't play and escape Phlage. That's probably okay though. Would be sad to lose to the subtlety when we have 4 bindings, 2 more discharges, and only 1 more discharge. Okay, and 3 Phlages to draw into. Okay, well this is 3 mana 2/2 on a board of 2 1/3s. Supposed to be an RICAC. Do you plan on investing more time in shifting omniscience? Yeah, I do. I want to play more of the archetype. I think the archetype is good. I want to see if I can figure out a different direction to take it. Because the build we had, it's like the main deck doesn't have that much wiggle room. If that makes sense. Like there's just I think we kind of got the main deck kind of solved of like the version we top 8 the Mox with. But yeah, I do want to. That the deck is very often on my mind these days. All right, so let's bounce the subtlety. Seems pretty safe to sack the Soul Guide for a card. Yeah, I agree. I think I'm just gonna binding that. Roots, Rumble, Bloodghast, Dantuko. Wait, what is Dantuko doing in this list? Okay, drawing Phlage, I think I can comfortably crack my fetch now. Any Arena of Glories? Only one in the deck, I guess. I think I just want to escape this now. I have 2 Drannith Magistrates in play, Force of Negation, Counterspell up. Seems pretty safe. Seems pretty safe. They gave him the Dino. Temporarily. Roots turned all the tokens into bops. I see, I see. Does this deck have much of a backup way to finish the game? Let's say your Phlages get surgical or something. No, it doesn't, and I think it's just not that important. Is my current thinking. My current thinking is that these lists usually play like 1 to 3 like subtleties or solitudes. I think these cards suck. I think these cards are worse than Force of Negation, especially in this like Through the Breach format. I really just want to be mostly in on Phlage. And then post board against like Through the Breach or whatever, if they Stonebrain or Surgical, I have Obsidian Charmaws. And other decks will have some Surgicals like Hollow One, but I think it's a card that we can try to play around. I think it's a card that we don't have to worry about game 1. I think it's a card that, like, if we think it's going to come up, maybe we do just bring in a couple Charmaws and, like, see if we can win the game that way. Maybe we should have a Hall of the Storm Giants in the mana base. But at the moment, I'm just not very worried about it. I think I would rather be weaker to Surgical than have my main deck suboptimally built, because I just don't think I would want to main deck a Subtlety or Solitude right now. I don't think that those cards are great. Or at least over Force of Negation. Yeah, I think all of the Storm Giants might be worth it. Chris with the 11, Darth with the 18, thank you so much. It's certainly like playing one Solitude or 2 Solitudes. It's not like the deck is significantly worse, right? But at the moment, I'm just not worried so much about Surgical, or I can try to be conscious of it and play around it, and I can lose to it sometimes and be okay with that. I'm playing Subtlety because I live in New England and the amount of Titan players per capita is insane. That is good to note. I think it's important to have 0 mana answers to Arena'd Phlage against Energy. Otherwise, you're much more constrained when it comes to tapping out against Edge Energy. Yeah, I think that is a good argument, Yindrik. Of course. Like this overall, I've been revisiting Bindings myself recently. Yeah, like Binding seems so important to play with, like through the, at least for me, I feel like Through the Breach is so popular. I play against Through the Breach so much. Really want to have a lot of answers to that. Let me surveil. I think I'm probably supposed to go Tune plus Discharge instead of Force plus Teferi here. Keep another Force. Then not pitch. I think I made Bindings as you run rings. Yeah, I mean that too. I think there's a long list of reasons to be on Binding. All right, hopefully they don't have their own Force. Nice. Sorry, I don't know why I yielded there for a second. Okay, so if they slam ring, I think we're gonna force pitch to Fairy, and then between Surveil, Draw Step, and our ring tap, we're pretty likely to find another blue card. So miss on our first look here. Hit. Go to bed, Simon. Why did the reliquary bloodghast retreat to Korham? Go to bed. Yeah, I mean the Teferi line could have won also, but it's so nice to like get to use the discharge in such a premium way and like save the force for spots like this. I think we played, okay. With them having no energy, I think we should plus, of course. Yeah, now they can discharge. Just wondering if it's a good spot to reset rings. I think we could just wait a turn. Yeah. Seems like with 2 discharges in my hand, I should just let that go. What Timeless Dragon's other win con? I mean, I know Yindrik has a Timeless Dragon, and I love Yindrik. I guess I'm not wearing the glasses today, but when I met Yindrik in Chicago this year, I got the circle glasses because I thought they looked really good on him, actually. Uh, fun Yindrik lore. But, yeah, I don't know. Timeless Dragon is a card historically I have disliked. It's not a card that I think is a good Magic card in general, but it would get the job done. And sometimes, that is what it's about when you play control, getting the job done. Yeah, I was at a glasses shop this year. I got this pair, I got a different pair, and like just kind of like the simple, more circular ones. I'm like, they look good on Yindrik. Let's try them. I'm playing Dragon. I guess not. I don't think it's bad, but I think Lauren, yeah, that makes sense. Timeless Dragon also cycles for planes. There's Blood Moon. Yeah, I mean, there's it's a convo for sure. It's a card that I don't like that much. So my opponent's at 12 life, and I have Arena of Glory Phlage. Feel pretty good about that. Yeah, I believe the Atlanta GP is standard, so I've got like a good amount of time before it. But I'll be definitely watching some Ash, and I think the last time I standard prepped, I asked Jesse what to play, and I asked Doom what to play, and I watched Ash's stream, and I talked to Maz a little bit, and then oh no, I guess that wasn't the last time I played, but that's what I did for Chicago. It did pretty well. I almost qualified for the Pro Tour at that event. I lost to Jarvis pretty late into the tournament, and then Jarvis made it, which is good. You got 2 cards in your hand, opponent. Do I have a second counterspell? Well, not a second castable counterspell. Yeah, I saw Caleb post that he thought standard was really good at the moment. What counter? But when as someone who plays modern like full time, it is really fun to like play like standard gameplay is just so different. I usually have a good time just popping my head back in for a little bit. I don't think that they're gonna have surgical very often. Yeah, I don't think I need to be that worried about it. I'm a little bit unsure about the number of consigns. I think I would play like two or three galvanic discharges. I'd play more if I thought they were on Tamiyo, but I mean they might be on Tamiyo. But I think I want 2 consigns. Do I feel like I think that binding is much better than discharge overall, so maybe just 2/2 seems good. Yeah, I'm also really looking forward to the sealed tournament in Vegas this year. It's gonna be a good end of the year. Lots going on. So we have a 1-lander with double tune on the draw and the control mirror. Very close. I don't know. Can't remember my land count. If I have 25, yeah, I do have 25. I'll keep on 25. Is Phlage the only way to close games? Yeah. Yeah. Just like it is realistically the only way Jeskai closes games. Obviously, sometimes you have 1 to 3 Evoke incarnations. Those are not usually getting the job done by themselves. Like our chances to hit second lander, like I think 80-ish%. If not even counting casting the second tune on our turn. So we have 53. We have 3. Let's say 3 looks with 24 successes. 84% should be. Oh, should just be a good keep, I think. Although I think I should probably archive because it's the same number of looks, but it makes it more likely that I'm going to continue to hit my land drops, if that makes sense. Yeah, after the fetch is 23. So that's true. So I guess I should have done that. So much energy. Gotta catch up. Green Wire with the 19 months. Thank you so much. Hope you're doing well. So I would really like to find myself in a spot where I can go Teferi with Spell Snare up. Yeah, I mean, that's okay with me that they chose to counter that, I suppose. Yeah, same lands, double tune, funny. Yeah, they must have Phlage in their hand. I mean, game ones of Control Mirrors are pretty different, but my opponent definitely seemed very surgical by counterspells. Wow. My opponent seemed very okay. They do have surgical in their deck, and they didn't save it for Phlage, so that's I guess good and bad news for us. Or maybe they have another one in their hand. That would be bad news. That resolves so fast. Well, I have an answer for ring, so I can just minus here, I think. Sorry for Boris Energy. What do you think of the land count? 22 or 24? I like 24 plus Rags personally, but not sure if that's correct. Does everyone play 22 or 24? I mean, I think it's 24 if you play the ring and 22 if you don't, is probably what I would say. But I didn't know. It is kind of funny. 22 or 24, not 23. But yeah, I would play 24 if you have the ring and 22 if you don't. What's different about this Jeskai control deck versus usual ones? We're playing 4 Leyline Binding, which is not usual for some reason. We're also playing Tamiyo, which, you know, some people play, some people don't. To some extent, too, like, we've just kind of been talking a lot about Jeskai, and I think it's good for me to play it on stream since we've been talking so much about it. Okay, they can discharge for 1 mana, so I should be grabbing this. I mean, I have a bunch of answers to the ring. I think I'm going to take Force of Negation. And then get the Spara's headquarters here, I think. Surprised they didn't have their own Phlage, which would be the minus the problem with the minusing. Still at 2 for 1 though. So it seems like I should wait a turn and be able to play ring with Spell Snare up. And I would probably play Phlage if I don't know how many surgicals they're playing, so I want to try to just play around the surgicals if I can. Seems like it'll be pretty doable this game. I think they may have a Solitude here with that pause on the instep. Although if they had it, they probably should have cast it. So maybe we should not read too much into that. Guess not much reason to play this first, but not much reason to not. Okay. They lost the flip. So that's +1 Leyline Binding in my hand. 2 cards in theirs. Any thoughts on taking Consign to keep Phlage from going to the yard? Well, my plan is to like just play and escape it, but yeah, I mean that could be fine too. But also Force of Negation can maybe counter Surgical. I think we're still chilling. I think my opponent's going to cast Solitude end of turn here. I don't know why I feel so confident that's going to happen, but I think I just got a vision from the future, so I'm going to lean into my psychic powers here. Okay. Vision was false. Those dang false visions. Maybe we'll need to play a Phlage out. We drew a land. So my opponent has Counterspell plus Surgical. I guess we could play around that by holding up Force of Negation and Snare. So let's actually do that. Oh wow, that's so good for me. With a second Phlage in the hand, I don't really see a lot of point in I don't really see a lot of point in protecting this one. Would you think about your own surgical over Soul Guide since you seem to be perfectly decent versus living in? I could probably hang with Gores. Yeah, it'll be pretty fine. Yeah. So I don't see a lot of reason to Force of Negation this, because the main reason to Force of Negation this would they be protect from Surgical and Phlage. We don't have a Phlage in the yard, and we have Narset in play, so they can't minus for a card effectively. They can minus for a card ineffectively like this, though. Yeah, my Psychic Vision was a turn too late on the Solitude. Unlocking, I haven't said this enough recently, because, we just don't talk about strategy enough on the stream, but understanding and awakening your third eye is very important for winning matches of Modern. Okay, so now we only have one Phlage in our deck, which means that if it's too deep in the deck, we could lose. If I haven't fetched since activating this Narset, then I will not want to fetch at all. I might not have fetched. I must have, right? I must have. Narset's been in play for so long. Yeah, I think bringing in a Charmaw could have been good. Maybe 2. It'll be fine, probably. Ada with the 8 months. Thank you. Welcome back. They have another surgical by the looks of it. Oh yeah, Fountain Port would be cool. You playing shift? Can we draw something I can Leyline Binding? That would be nice. Unironically, though, I like Academy Ruins. You would think that the Ruins ring stuff would be more real. It's not very real. Right, they managed to cycle on my turn, so Narset doesn't get them. Interesting that they have Rogred Triumph in the deck. What a fun game of Magic. I've missed games like of Magic like this so much. The game would be this game would be way more fun if my opponent wasn't taking a long time to do nothing for like 6 turns. But I love games like this. Yeah, I mean this just doesn't matter. So let's let it go. Again, they can't mine us for value. We can just binding it. We have 3 bindings. If they resolve a ring, they could maybe draw a card, and I just have more bindings. So I guess this matters if they have 3 counterspells somehow. Sure. Playing shit the 20 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Appreciate you. Brought Omniscience Woodlands deck, but losing badly. 6 and 13 is a me or the deck. I don't know. I haven't been playing it very much since the mocks. It's very good against energy, and then like a lot of combo decks, it's pretty play draw against other strategies. Although it is just like it's very bad against Storm. Is a big problem. When you die rolls. What are you doing here, opponent? Come on. Let's take some game actions. There we go. Jeskai. No, I'm talking about the Woodland stack. I think Jeskai is fine against Storm. Oh, I forgot to mention this part too, but like one issue, we're talking about the triomes instead of doing Indatha plus Steam Vents or Zoggoth plus Sacred Foundry. We've had this conversation on stream a lot, but one thing we didn't really talk about is that if you do Indatha plus Zoggoth, one of your fetch lands doesn't find wait. Sorry. Yeah. Scalding Tarn doesn't find Indatha Triome. Scalding Tarn doesn't find Indatha Triome, and Arid Mesa doesn't find Zoggoth Triome, which is I think just pretty awkward. All right, let's fight over this. Yeah, and then one of them, or Zoggoth doesn't pay for Phlage, and then Indatha doesn't pay for Counterspell. So I think kind of clearly at this point, I'm thinking you want to be just in on one of each of these. Okay, 4 cards in their hand. Now, again, I only have 1 Phlage left in my deck, but as long as it's not like one of the very, very bottom cards, we'll win. And if it is, we'll probably lose. Another Solitude by the looks of this. We could consign this trigger. I think I'm just going to Solitude, or binding the Solitude itself. Save the Consign for a ring. Save the Force of Negation for interaction on my Phlage. And then save this binding for a Phlage of theirs. I've seen some builds just in Lounge and the bindings just cost 2. I really dislike... Like, binding is so easy to make cost 1. Just play the extra triome, you silly. Silly, I think. Like, play a breeding pool at least. Come on, let's... Like, there's a very real too smart for your own good factor, I think, when it comes to control players in general. Do I want to binding this Phlage right now? I think, yeah, let's do that. Why is there a Phlage left? My opponent didn't surgical my Phlages. They exiled them with Solitude in March. They surgical my counterspells, which is interesting. Well, interesting choice there. All right, well, we have still a Phlage in the deck. Where is it, though? I guess even if it's the bottom card, we can win because we have the Arena of Glory, and they're at 12. And then next turn... Next turn, I can exactly draw my entire library, play Escape Phlage, and attack with it. That's 15 damage, actually. Now, I think I want to block with the Tamiyo so I can Binding a Phlage of theirs, and they go up to 15, and then we deal 15. Does them untapping my ring with Manamo do anything? No, right? Yeah. Okay, so go down to 5 life, 5 cards in hand, draw those 5 cards. One of them will be a Phlage. And we win. Easy game, easy life. We'll deal 15. The Phlage ETB, this Phlage ETB, Phlage attack, Phlage 6 damage. Oh, Odawara. I mean, Odawara, I guess I can't consign it. Okay, they don't have it. Did this math wrong on my chamber damage? I did not do my math wrong. You did your math wrong. Look, they're at -3. They started at 12. I've never done my math wrong in this channel once. If they are weak to Wrath Disguise, this is a good hand. Is an Odawara an activated ability? It is. You can't consign activated. I mean, Odawara is also not particularly common, is it? Most people play like Manamo, Arena of Glory, sometimes Monumental Hinge, but not really Odawara, right? Well, I hope you like Jeskai mirrors. Can you talk a little bit about the potential for Leyline Binding to be removed and why that didn't prevent you from being put in the build? Can you talk about whether or not you would defend Leyline for removal with a counterspell situation you would? I will say the tenacity of control nerds is always very fun. Leyline Binding is incredibly good at the moment. Leyline Binding is super good at the moment. We're like living in a Through the Breach metagame. It like answers like Boros is now playing copies of the Ring. It is like I think almost just like clearly a Leyline Binding format. Leyline Binding is perhaps the most underplayed card in Modern. I think that you could say that with a good degree of confidence. That Leyline Binding is the most underplayed card in Modern. And and like the potential for it to be removed is a factor, but boy, is it not enough of a factor for me to not play it in Modern right now. Is Moon not scary? You can play around Moon. We have 4 main deck Force of Negation. We've got basic planes. You can Leyline Binding Blood Moon with basic planes for 3 mana. I honestly feel like, and this is like meant to be very constructive, so don't take this too personal, control gamers, but it honestly feels like to me at this point, control gamers are trying to feel smart for not playing Leyline Binding. They're trying so hard to just like let's look at this comment. Can I talk a bit about the potential for binding to be removed and counterspells to be removed? Like control players just try so hard to feel smart. Control players are trying so hard to like justify not playing Leyline Binding because they haven't been playing it. But holy guacamole, please just play this card. It is so good right now. It's just not that complicated. Okay, so I can Wrath Disguise the Phlage, I guess. So we want to spend 1 extra mana here so you can't get spell snared, and also we're not using the mana, I guess. Ripped you new one. I wasn't trying to sell smart. Just figured the best ways to make content. Well, I mean, I am just teasing you too, but it's only control players ask questions like this. You know, is something of note. Do I have to? I guess I could surveil first. But it's okay. Control players, you should embrace the meme. You should embrace being goofy overthinkers. That is who you are. That's okay. Y'all are always going to be goofy overthinkers. But also, you know, questions like this too. It's too much question. Can you talk about the potential Leyline Binding be removed and why that prevents you from putting the build? Can you also talk about whether or not you would defend Leyline from removal in situations removed? You could think it's just too much. Too much question. Peace and love. Peace and love. The Null Drifter build is definitely good in this in the mirror. Eh? Give it a second run around. I'm just using, you know, it's too much question. Oh, sorry, I do have Tamiyo. I have one more Tamiyo on their deck. We'll leave the instants and sorceries in. Yeah, I think a haul of the main deck could be good. I'm kind of on board for that. Okay, so Galvanic Discharge as an energy ritual here. No play control often. I gotta play as much info as possible. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. They're gonna escape their own Phlage. Looks like they are gonna. Thoughts and opinions on why 4-color control disappeared? Yeah, it's bad. Not a good deck. $5 a month for the rest of your life, please. Well, I mean, this is this feels like a cruel ultimatum lined up. Binding, Phlage, counterspell up. What would we want to get back? Probably Force of Negation. Maybe a tune. Probably not a tune. Are y'all countering this? I think let's let it go. Yes, it fills up for second Phlage cast. Well, I'm gonna bottom the Phlage off the subtlety. Top it, no counter. There's no way you top it with only 2 cards in the yard, I would think. Dude, if they have a third Null Drifter here, we're pretty cooked. Devastating. Dude, Null Drifter seems so favored in the mirror. It's like unreal. It's just so many extra like this is just a 3-for-1. Good in the mirror. 3 cards in their hand. Would I Force of Negation a Wrath Disguise for 6 here? Is that also a question? Kind of seems like a losing fight. I could try to like top deck a ring. Top deck a binding for the Phlage. Yeah, it just seems like I shouldn't be countering this. If I top deck a ring, that's like all of a sudden I'm like winning. Yeah, we're gonna bring in the full 4 consigns for sure. Z's. Sweep the legs. Great username. Think with 3 months. Appreciate you, brother. Welcome back. Alright, so I'm at 9 life. Dead to a Phlage attack, game 2. So, would anybody be mad if I chose to be on the draw? I think I'm going. I think I'm going to. I think I'm going to. Yeah, it's like, and this is why. It's like when you mulligan on the play in these matchups, it is so devastating. It is just like the game is almost just over. Versus you're on the draw and you mulligan, and it's just kind of fine. It is. It is so tough to. It is so tough to mulligan on the play. You're just gonna miss your land drops and get cooked. So it's a control mirror. I can keep a land here, I think. Hoping they don't go dress down into Drifter. Just lose, I guess, you know. Could get Xander's Lounge here. Digging for a binding, I guess. Oh. Well, does seem like they're pretty favored in the mirror. Against which decks you like Magistrate? Mostly Storm. Storm has been pretty popular. You also bring them in against Living End. Omega42, welcome back. Appreciate you. That's okay. 1-1 against Jeskai today. So the draw against Mistaken, who has been playing a lot of Titan. I think I'm going to mulligan this hand against Presumed Titan. Keep this one. Yeah, I do agree that Null Drifter is maybe not a net positive, but certainly positive in the mirror. Do you like Magistrate over something like Mage Bam against Storm for Boros? I might play Mage Bane and Boros if we feel like there's still a lot of abrades, but it almost feels like these builds just change like every day. um, Double Amulet. Yeah, I mean, it almost feels like how like what answers control like Storm is playing for hate cards changes every day. It's very difficult to stay on top of. Right, I'm gonna binding an amulet here. Yeah, it's nice that Magistrate means they can't dig with Rin's Resolve, but if they're playing, dude, I've been playing It's Mistaken a lot. Just the density of I just have 3 amulets has been so crazy. Although only 1 land milled here. Lotus Field would be pretty bad for me. There's a Shifting Woodland. So I'm probably going to Phlage the Aftermath Analyst. And hope Mistaken is a little flooded. Yeah, Wrath Disguise would not be too bad of a draw. Transmuting for a Summoner's Pact. Can they cast that effectively this turn? Seems like no is the answer to that question. Now, I wish I could play Ring with Binding Up. Or Teferi with Binding Up, but I can't. So let's just plan to Binding the Titan. Yeah, you can ignore the Splunking. You can choose to use Amulet as a replacement effect instead of Splunking as a replacement effect. Wait, are we just already looping? Sorry, also was I maybe supposed to binding an amulet in response? I should have taken a second to think. We don't have delirium any longer, so I don't think we're looped. Well, I guess there's delirium after we cast the Summoner's Pact. Yeah, I don't think it changed anything we bind either. The loops are so hard to play through. Okay, so we're bringing in our consigns. Spell Snare is a lot better against this build than it used to be. I'm not sure what number we want post board. Yeah, sideboarding is gonna be a little tricky. All right, let's go to game 2. 2 snares probably the right number. I mean, they have Explore. It's like 7 2-drops. Probably just want 2 snares. Let's bring in the Soul Guide Lantern. Let's bring in all 4 consigns. Wrath Disguise is kind of tricky because you don't want to draw the second one that often, but you do want to draw the first copy pretty early. Kind of a weird dynamic. I'm going to cut the Teferis. I'm going to go down. I think I'm going to go. Discharge also killing Analyst is not irrelevant. I think we'll play like 2. Hitting Dryad is also kind of nice. Maybe cut the Tamiyos. Tamiyo's kind of interesting too, like picking up some of the stuff. Maybe trim a Tamiyo, trim a Phlage. I probably want some Charmaws. Like 2? So if we were going to play 2 Charmaws, we should maybe cut the Tamiyos. They're like, oh, Mistaken's not playing Dryad? Maybe we should look at list. I thought there were Dryads in his build. Maybe not. Maybe I was mistaken, huh? Yeah, I guess not. Okay, if that's the case, then let's maybe go. And this is playing 1 Mirror Pool. Oh, I guess can't see the whole mana. There's Crumbling Vestige, Echoing Deeps, presumably 4 Urza Sagas down here. I'm gonna play the 3rd Snare. Also Defense Grid. At Valakut, there has to be Dryad. Oh. Yeah, there was Valakut, huh? Yeah, we'll play 1 Discharge. We also have Leyline Binding. Alright, let's keep this ham. Do you want to be able to consign a amulet turn 1? They have it. I think I'm going to surveil instead of getting domain online. Just graveyard that. Oh, so I probably should have cutting wrath feels so weird. Well, I just didn't board in the 4th. I probably should have gone down at least 1 Force of Negation. Hey, that's my surveil land. Might consign my own Phlage trigger and just get aggro. We'll see what happens. Happy enough to just 3 mana, 3 mana. Yeah, if I draw a land, we'll go Phlage Consign with Force up. What? Sticking to that plan. Scamming. Your turn. Can't be that bad to force this. Might not be correct, but can't be the most incorrect thing we've done today. All right, so now let's cut some of these Force of Negations. Let's play probably 2. Maybe. I mean, there are better on the draw. I think I'm open to playing 3rd Charmaw. Open to playing 2nd Discharge on the draw too. Maybe play 4th Wrath Disguise on the draw. Feels like such guesswork, which I don't like. Barrel 3 months, thank you, welcome back. I think this is okay. Wrath is good against them. Let's just play 4. Let's draw. And every time we draw it, we'll draw it right on time, and we'll draw, tune the narrative first, and it'll be great. Look, just like this. Just like this. No, don't play 2 more amulets next turn. Yeah, not forcing that, of course, because we got the Wrath Disguise in our hand. Spell Snare for Druid or more targets. Explore. So let's Force of Negation this so they don't have an amulet effect. But I'm going to go ahead and tune the narrative before I do. Now, I only have 1 Hallowed Fountain, so I have to get Sacred Foundry next turn. Which makes me want, I think, to pitch Counterspell at the moment. Although... can cast the Spell Snare, you know. 3rd Amulet. We'll be kind of bummed if I didn't have the Snare up for Analyst this turn. They have to have Untap Land and Analyst and Millwell. Gonna Force some Negation there. Certainly wishing I had not pitched the Snare, but obviously again I didn't have the blue source. Obviously, if I drew the blue source off the tune or had it in hand, we would easily have kept. Oh, here we go. Yeah, Analyst has some good loops with Shifting Woodland, is why they play it. Okay, now for a proper blue-white gamer, we'll top deck the ring here. Close enough. I think having both Surveillance and Domain Lands is kind of greedy. I don't think we can possibly lose a game at this point. I don't know. I honestly think that control players, to me, it feels like they're just looking for reasons to not play Leyline Binding in the deck. I don't think that there is good arguments, and I don't know. That's at least been the feeling I've been getting. All right, so maybe we can counter whatever they play here, and then Charmaw them off of Titan, although we can't quite do that. Or Charmaw them off of Summoner's Pact, but we don't quite have or they have too much mana for that. Toad with the 22 months. Thank you so much. Top 4 at RCQ with Storm. Congratulations. Three cards in him. Mirror Pool tapped. Hand or Battlements. 2 mystery cards in hand over there. Seems fine to keep on top. Aver, the 32 months. Is there much reason? Is there reason there's not much Titan right now? Yeah, I think there is a lot of Titan at the moment. I feel like I play against it a lot, and it has become a much more popular post-ban, so I would say that there is Titan. Now Discharge kills a Titan too, so I draw Ring. I can Discharge or Ring with a Discharge up. I might as well leave up Thundering Fall so that I could draw Consign and also have Consign up as well. A chest with the 53 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Appreciate Jim. Well, I guess I need to kill this before they have mirror pool up. So let's see how bad the damage is. They can Urza's Cave for Teleria West, maybe. I cannot remember the last time I saw a summoning trap. So no lands in the yard there. Put a Shifting Woodland into play. Okay, so my binding costs 3 mana still. Pockets, 12 months. Thank you. Welcome back. If Woodlands becomes a creature, still land. Not into. No, it is not. At least not while it's copied. What you getting? Second Woodlands, maybe? Probably dead to second Woodlands, yeah. Yeah, pretty dead. Well, probably not going to win, but should I have let the Titan triggers result first? Maybe I should have. Does Valka do anything in no dry bells? I think they have Dryad. Can they kill me this turn? I'm going to go to 1 after my ring damage. But I do have Phlage. Okay, they bog me. If I can draw my Soul Guide Lantern, that would be really good. It might live. Certainly doing quite bad if we don't draw the Lantern. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. So these cost red. Do I have enough mana to... I must Phlage, obviously. Or I guess I could consign my ring trigger, actually. So it seems like we can just go Charmaw Woodland. And then... and then cast Phlage with Counterspell up. Oh. You still need white mana for that? Besage Lumra. Did they put Besage into their hand? I don't know if we have a way to play around that if they do. Sorry, I guess I totally missed that they had this. Yeah, I can't consign though. I mean, I can consign the Lumra trigger. Does this have trample? It doesn't have trample, but they can mirror pool the Lumra to get the trigger again. Can always consign the Leyline coming back trigger. It's not a trigger. Yeah, it's not a trigger. So these are coming back tapped. But that probably doesn't matter that much. Should take an island off Besage of Counterspell. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Sorry about that. Well, I think I would have countered the Analyst and then died to the Colossus. Right, 200 2-2. Kona, Rescue Beastie. Not see this card. 4 mana, 4/3 survival. Beginning of second main phase, if this is tapped, you may put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. You may do what? Very interesting card. Does die to bolt. Does die to bolt. Yeah, I think that this could be very cool. Like, this is an awesome Shifting Woodlands card, yes. Awesome Shifting Woodlands card. I think let's just get Domain Online here. So I think that if you were going to build this card in Shifting Woodlands, you would want to play Urza Saga, which is a card you kind of want to play anyways, because you can get Cookbook to discard your Omniscience, and it's like 2 types also. Already a pretty good card in the archetype. And then you'd also be able to get Springleaf Drum, and then like be able to play this, tap into Springleaf Drum, and then immediately get to do your thing. That being said, I feel like you'd want to play 4 Springleaf Drum if you had this card in your deck, or like more than 1 at least. Well, that is a card to look at for sure, Z's. And the fact that like this wants you to put Omniscience in play and it's green, there's obvious woodland overlap. Oh yeah, Relic of Legends is another interesting option. The card is 3 mana though. But it's an option. Played off Arena of Glory, yeah. New set, definitely tons of brew potential. I am excited. I know this is also kind of weird, but Force of Negation is so clunky. I'm just kind of happy to 1-for-1 here. And they've been missing, sorry, I thought they had missed a land drop. They did not, but they might miss this land drop. Good bait, Oval. Hi, Jeskai Control Player. I was wondering your thoughts on Counterspell in relation to, has anyone really been far even as decided to use even to go to want to do more like? Yeah, hard to say. Literally. That card also could be like a pioneer, like put Omniscience into play. Which of your most recent brews did I recommend for FNM? I mean, I've been really into the Basim Demir list we played. That comment made me smile so much it like hurt my ear with the headphones on. 1 top, 1 bottom. Pretty sure the card with Copter and Chair is good enough for Pioneer. Well, if Claudio says it, it must be true. Probably. I've not played Pioneer in almost a year at this point. Let's counterspell this. Let's draw a Phlage. So is there any reason to wait on binding the Smirktide? Not really. It kind of just like they can't spell pierce, that they have main deck Consign, I guess, but I think it's better to play around main deck Force. It's a bit more common out of Demir. Omniscience could be in standard. Holy guacamole. It's like dress down on Phlage decks. I think it's a little bit like I don't like that dress down is kind of just not a card I'd like to main deck in general. And it is nice to like turbo Phlage sometimes, but I think that upside is not enough for me to want to main deck it right now. We lost to Titan and we lost to Null Drifter Jeskai, and we beat non-Null Drifter Jeskai. The Null Drifter build seems very favored. Consider playing Lush Portico Hedge over Spara's. I mean, you could, I suppose. I think you probably just want more consistent domain mana. Um, like Portico also just doesn't tap for counterspell. I know Surveillance are really good, but don't think that's how I'd build it. I thought Titan would be a pretty good matchup. Well, I think old school Titan was a lot better, but like the shifting woodlands just kind of solos control decks. It is, I'm like woodlands #1 fan maybe, and boy, that card is just so good against control decks. And now that Mistaken has been working on these builds, it's very very tough. Yeah, I'm just kind of down again. Nashi. Oh, we have a rat. No. Don't give me hope. 2 minutes, 2 minutes. When this deals common damage to a player, you milled that many cards, put a number of legendary enchantments. Oh, I've seen this one. Legendary enchantments from them into your hand. Who had no cards in your hand and put a counter on it. This card is so much worse than Frog and Basim. It is a legend for Basim, I guess, but the fact that it has to deal combat damage to a player, and you're like not even that likely to get something necessarily, even if you're a Basim deck, you're like not favored to put a card into your hand on the first one. Probably not a card you want to play. Piano the 45, thank you, welcome back, appreciate you. Math says Prime, thank you so much too. I did miss that there was a rat ninja when I first read the card. Long time watcher via YouTube. First time visiting your stream live. I've been trying an adapted version of your Woodlands Omni deck for Devoted Druid Vizier. Oh no. Well, I will say, sounds pretty interesting. I've seen it. I've seen this too. I've seen people try Devoted Druid Woodland. And I kind of like it in theory. In practice, I'm pretty anxious about it, I think. Alright, so it seems like this is a spot where we want to try to use Galvanic Discharge as a ritual, or as a discard spell, potentially. Not that they would discard like 3 cards here, 5 cards, 4 cards here. But I think we want to give them the option. Emrakul over Ballista is probably wrong, where Ballista is like 2 types for Delirium that you can play on 0, and is also a win-off Finale of Devastation. So I think Ballista is probably better. Arbor Elf is probably unplayable, but it looks kind of nice here. But I would probably play Delighted Halfling every time instead. Looks kind of nice though. About as nice as it's gonna get, I'll say. This deck really seems like we hurdle until we hit Phlage. Yeah, or Dirtle to hit Phlage. Yes, that is a control deck for sure. Okay, I think they're trying to play Murktide in there and stuff here. Emrakul shuffles the bin. Yeah, oh yeah, also Emrakul shuffling your graveyard is bad. So that needs to be a walking ballista for sure. Give it much thought on the 3 mana 5/5 Murktide. I think the card is mostly worse than Murktide, but I like that card. It's very cool. Like there's a lot of cards. A lot of times when I say I like a card, I don't necessarily mean it's going to be modern playable. I just think the design is really cool and I enjoy the card, but I don't think it's necessarily going to be good, or likely to be good, I should say. I think this is a must counter. We can Wrath Disguise it, but if we're going to do that, we need to get the counter spells out of their hand first, right? Murktide underneath this. Force Pitch Force, sure. Well, we've got a lot of 2-for-1s and 3-for-1s. We've also drawn many more lands than our opponent. They have 6 lands. We have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 lands. No Phlages in the top 31. The top 32? Okay, your turn. That scales go today. Not very well, unfortunately. I'm at 10 also. It's not the highest life total. Two cards in hand. Yeah, also no ring in the top 32. Maybe I should have played the arena. Currently the best Murktide Black Removal Forage. Forage is pretty good. At least one copy. Kind of depends on what deck you're playing, I guess. Yeah, but it decides to let this go. Would Wrath the Skies be too good for Modern Fed Flash? I mean, it is already, like, maybe too good for Modern. I think there's maybe no card holding decks in the format back more than Wrath the Skies. Oof. Did not get my planes. We do have a mountain. We got 3 more Galvanic Discharges to draw into and 4 rings. And there's one card on that list. I think they have Sink into the Stupor. They might also have a Counterspell. Yeah, I haven't been playing Timeless enough to give suggestions, Sly. All right, Galvanic Discharge. Although we lose to Sink into the Stupor that way, and I'm pretty sure they have one. Okay, down a game. Probably win if I had fetched planes earlier. My bad. I'm going to bring in a Snare. Going to go down a Force. Down another Force for Wrath the Skies number 4. Don't think I want to play 2 Forces. We'll just bring in an Narset. Yeah, well, looting. Yeah, looting. That one. That one for surezies. Dang, y'all get to play looting in Timeless? I tried to play Space Marine. No. Esther's playing through Knights of the Old Republic for the first time right now, and then I started Black Myth Wukong. I made it. I think I'm towards the end of chapter 2, and there's a boss that I can't get through, so I haven't been playing recently. I think with 3 bindings, if they play a frog here, I'm going to binding instead of snare. Is there a frog shifting decks in the work? I've tried a few times on like shifting Woodlands Frog. Obvious synergy, but obviously tension between Woodlands wanting you to play a lot of forests and to have a Dimir 2-drop in your deck, but it would be doable. The big head guy, I think he's technically optional. Oh, well. Yeah, that is the guy. I thought that was the... I don't know where else to go, so... If that guy's optional, I don't... I probably still want to do it, to be honest. Do you prefer KOTOR 1 or 2? I only ever played 1 as a kid, and then I don't know, I just never played 2. I've heard good things, though. I mean, I just have 3 more bindings, and the snare is like super duper live. I might need it to like beat Harbinger plus Counterspell up. They have to have again exactly Spell Pierce or I guess Consign for the ETB. Yeah, always Pierce in all formats though. And 2, you could literally make your whole squad Force users. I mean, you can in 1 also. You have Jolie and then the cat lady, right? And Bastila. Maybe about Unearthing Current Modern, maybe go with Satoran Frog. I mean, I mostly think Cathodian Nightmare is better. I think we're getting snared. So yeah, I think we just take this moment to hardcast the Force. Be so nice to have something to punish them for, like a Teferi or a Ring or a Phlage. Alright, we'll see if we surveil Phlage into the yard, I guess. Oh, I see. Fleece, cool. I don't like that we don't beat Counterspell plus Spell Pierce if we slam this. Um, let's wait. Yeah, y'all remember Mystic Sanctuary? What a messed up card that was. I think it's a viable Asmo Kappa Cannoneer shell. Maybe. I had like a Basim list that was like, it felt a little full is one problem. Like it was kind of like too many slots for some stuff. I think I'm snaring. And of course, Wrath Skies is still a big problem, but I don't know, you could maybe like main deck a ton of counterspells somehow. Somehow that I haven't been able to figure out. Okay, so counterspell on top. We'll definitely wait on the ring here again. Yeah, we saw the new the new beast. That card is pretty juicy. Yeah, not really expecting this to work. Four cards in their hand still. We have not drawn a Phlage this match. Out of Surveil Land still. White opponent not replicate. I mean, if their hand is like all counter spells and they want to trade a counterspell for a counterspell here, that could make sense, right? Maybe not. I think this is a spot where we would prefer to have a Triumph in the deck to cycle, by the way. Oh, maybe we should have got Second Planes because of Harbinger. Yeah, and seems like I should be just building up again if they're not doing anything. I remember when I was like, learning Magic or getting into competitive Magic, I watched this LSV vintage video where his opponent had like 7 cards in hand. LSV had 2, and LSV had like a couple good threats. And he's like, "Well, I guess I can just I'll just not do anything for 5 turns. And if my opponent's hands is all counter spells, then I can just refull." And that's what happened. His opponent just had all counter spells, and and it wasn't hitting land drops. It just started discarding, and LSV just filled up to 7. And I remember I watched him do that, and it just blew my brain. LSV versus Mindian. I don't know. This was a Channel Fireball video like 12 years ago, 10 years ago. I don't remember who he was playing against. All right, let's take a draw step. Kind of punished. An upkeep binding. Well, no Secret to the Super either. I guess he would have synced or they would have synced on the stack. Okay. Okay, now I'm scrolling through this link. I'm such a nice streamer. For these Sophy decks. Alright, I clicked your link. I scrolled through. I didn't see a Sophy deck. Sorry. I'm not going to look anymore. Peace and love. Peace and love. Well, my opponent is dead to this Phlage attack. Let's see if they have anything. Alright, can I play Teferi and then play an Escape Phlage? I don't think I have enough. Yeah, one short. Seems like I should just play an Escape again, though. They didn't do much against this last time. Gets around like Force of Negation, and you kind of want to do this before giving them a window to cling. I'll leave the Counterspell in the yard for Tamiyo. I guess I could leave the Force also. Dead to Merc? I'm dead to Murktide? What game are you watching? Probably should have bounced. I mean, I'm playing around counter, like Force of Negation here, too. Like, not only is a Murktide, like, only 14 power here, but I have Tamiyo to block, and you know, this line seemed way better. I think you can mage in with 27. Okay, on the draw for game 3, I'm going to go ahead and submit this and use the restroom. Yeah, yeah, they were saying I was dead to second Murktide, but I wasn't, right? I had Tamiyo block, my life total was too high. Loving my lady is the sea. These being able to find mountain and plains are a little bit more premium against the Harbinger deck. Do you think I would just want to try to get Domain online kind of aggressively? There's a pretty good chance that I go like... Well, I guess Bowmasters are kind of weird. Okay, thankfully no Bowmasters. Yeah, I'll take a look. Professor. Although I really have been... I hate Imgur these days. I'm like... Imgur has gotten so bad. Like, it's obviously not your fault, but like, it's been... I've been pretty unhappy with it as a site. Wait, is this value Sophy? Where is the sack outlet? Oh, there's the bombardments. Okay. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Like with bombardment being a pretty playable card, I'm really surprised there's only one Renegade Rallier. Rallier Birthing Ritual is a pretty good package. Oh, I missed my tune the narrative in the turn. It looks cool. I like you know, I've been thinking this like my issue with I know this is weird. I'm actually gonna counterspell because they been missing lane drops. Oh, for Specialist. Okay. Is Specialist better than Rallier? Rallier can get back Birthing Ritual. Rallier can get back Fetch Lands. I just don't... Yeah, surely Rallier is better. And Rallier can get back Goblin Bombardment. I don't know. I'm just a hater. It's kind of risky, but the ability to slam the ring here seems really, really nice. I'm going to go to keep this discharge, though, out of fear of Harbinger. Maybe too much fear. I don't know. Yeah, but it seems like there's some wiggle room. Is I guess what I'm trying to say. There's some room for growth here, and maybe we'll spend some time on it. Like this Sting Scourger looks really weird. I think a lot of people were suggesting Sophie and like the green, the Celestia instead of Naya, but Bombardment is just so good. I think it makes sense that it's, you know, again, just kind of a generically good card in the archetype that you can also just use as a combo piece, and then Sophie can be pretty good in the archetype too. Needs to play more Phlages, probably. Probably should not be playing Witch Enchanter and Ampteraptor in the same build. Yeah, I mean, against Frog here, we definitely want to use a discharge to try to kill it. Although with this much energy, my opponent is like never, or they shouldn't be discarding very often. They shouldn't be able to counter. All right, +1 energy for us. No Spell Pierce. Could have waited. Seemed okay. Yeah, Duskmourn is going to be a really good set for brewing, I think. Well, if you got a second Spell Pierce, yeah, I can maybe resolve a ring. So they don't have another Spell Pierce in their hand, so it should be safe enough to slam this ring. They might have Force. Okay, Force Pitch Dispute. 2 cards in their hand. Got 6 energy in the pool. In Dathatron, not the way to go. Jeskai Binding or trying a different build. Yeah, it's not the way. You want to have. So Dathatron is basically a basic plains, right? These are dual lands, and Dathatron also is infetchable off Scalding Tarn. Zoggoth Trime is infetchable off Arid Mesa. I think you want to build a deck like this. Okay, so I need the X equals 7. Got excited to snare, and then it's not snareable. Okay. Opponent, you may cast a second Murktide. I allow it. You may cast a Psychic Frog. Are you streaming another league? Are you going to leave if I say no? I'm not sure yet. Let's Binding so that I can Phlage and not be dead to a... Oh, sorry, I forgot I had full domain. I played the Crackling Drake Wizard deck already. I haven't played it. I played against it a lot. I think it's okay. I think that it is... I don't love it, but I like it. I don't love it, but I like it. Please do another league with Jeskai. Well, the thing is, Jeskai leagues take 5 ever. So I don't know. I will play all of your pet decks next, so don't leave. Next up, your pet deck. Don't leave, please. I need you. This is like every other win cons besides Phlage. I love Stonebranding Jeskai's Phlages. Well, if you're playing, I guess I don't care about this. If you're playing a Stonebrain deck, I'm probably bringing in Charmaws against you. I'm a Spike. You already played my pet deck. Jeskai 3/2. Okay, so I do want to play another league. We missed yesterday. Another Jeskai league seems like a bit much to commit to.